A very good day to you, sir. So today I will be presenting about Industrial Revolution 4.0, which is in our PBT2 assignment. Before I get into it, let me introduce myself. I'm Periyanjeli Palaniyapan, and due to some reasons, my groupmate couldn't attend and present today, so I'll be doing the whole presentation. So let's get into explaining our layout designs first. I'll get to the main part, which is it starts with history. The history of Industrial Revolution, which is in the 18th century, agrarian civilization grew more industrial and urbanized, ushering the Industrial Revolution, which you can see here. So let's not make it boring. So let me explain about the components that we used, which is more important. So for the title here, we used text view, and this is an image view. We did use scroll view under the constraint layout. Scroll view because the informations are way more than how much a screen could show you. So to make it better, I've used scroll view here so the user can scroll down to view the whole page of informations. And other than text views, these three text views and two image views, I've used two buttons which I have named as button back history and button next history. This is because I would want to declare it inside the history.java, in which I use intent method to move into the next page, which is description page for the next button, and back button is to get from history to contents. And sorry for this, because the first page that is not an history page, it's not history page, which I have said wrongly just now. The first page is supposed to be content page. Let me show you. This is the content page, and in content everything is text views. From here, when we click the next button, it will get into history. So let me show you that we used public void next, because this is another way of declaring it to get into intent method, in which you just declare it as public void next, and then you use the view method and start activity as usual. It's a direct way without you using the intent new and then getting from one part to another, and you also don't have to declare it up here. It's another method to do this. So from here it gets into the history, which I have explained just now. From the history it gets into description page. Let me show you the description page here. So in description page, all of these are actually image buttons, which will redirect you to another page when you click it after we run the application. And this is a text view as usual, and we have two buttons as usual, which is back and next. And we did use linear layout for inside the scroll view, and scroll view as usual because we want to make it easier for the user to access it. And all of that is under constraint layout, in which we did make it as we did give some attributes to that, like its margin, its font, the text, the color, size, and everything. We did that for all of these pages. So let me show you the next page. Before that, let me show you the coding for description of IR 4.0. So the Java code for description page is actually pretty long, because we have around 9, if I'm not wrong, 9 image buttons. Yes, 9 image buttons. So the image buttons, we declare it in this method so we don't make it crowded in top here. So we did declare it in image button and then name of the image button, more like ID of the image button. We use find view by ID to declare its ID, and then we use void on click method for intent of the ID of the image buttons. So this on click method is actually a method to say that what happens when you click the button. So when we click on this button, it will redirect you to get application content. This get application content is what gets you to a 3D printing page. We cannot declare it as 3D printing because Android Studio don't let you start a page's name with numbers or symbols, so we have to put something in front. So that's why we declare it as a 3D printing. So we use the same on click method for which we use for IB2, IB3. IB is basically image button, so image button 1, image button 2, image button 3, and it goes on for until image button 9 to its class file, which is the way we connect it to the XML and Java file, which is interconnected. So from there, we did declare the back button description, button next description. So for the back description, we put intent method to redirect it from description to history, which is the previous page. And we also made some toes for the page to show that they are in history of IR40. And for the button next, we did the same method, intent method, to make it redirect from description to main activity 11. So one thing about this page is users should go through the image buttons first before they go to the next button, because the next page, main activity 11, is actually like the ending. So inside the description page, there's actually more than just an image, because the images are actually image buttons. So there are 9 pages that are inside the images. So let's go to IB1, which is 3D printing. I'll show you one by one. This is the interface of 3D printing page, in which we have made some text views, and we did give the layout width and layout height. Then we use layout gravity center for this part, for all this, because we want to keep everything in the center. So we use color background tint for the button. We use background, and it's actually something like an opacity type of background. That's why the code is different from the normal usual black. And we use scroll view under the constraint layer. We use the same method for augmented reality. It has scroll view, it has text view, it has image view. And one thing to notice is we did declare the text as string point4. The string point4 actually refers to this values string file, in which we did declare all the string or text that we want to input in the interfaces. So we made it this way because when the texts are too long, it will be a hassle for the programmer or the person who does the project to type everything inside one part, and if they want to change it. So to make it easier for us, we did like this: social media content creator and everything, all that. So when there are texts like this, the longest one, if we want to change, we can simply change here. We don't have to like change inside the text part, which is very small. So other than that, let's get back into augmented reality. Augmented reality, this is the augmented reality's coding, Java coding. so in which we declare a button back org. So every pages inside the image button, we only gave back button because the user have to return back to the description page to get back into the next image button page. So we made it like that because they don't it doesn't get messy or confused when they click next inside the image button. Everything, they lose track of which page in they are. So other than that, we have big data and analysis. Let me show you big data and analysis. It has the same properties, so everything inside the image button is similar. All the properties that we use, all the components that we used in there are similar. It's either text view, image view, button, scroll view, and all of that is under a constraint layout because we want to keep it constrained to the frame without making it into linear. Because personally, from my opinion, I feel that constraint is kind of better when it comes to some kind of project, and for this I feel that constraint is way suitable than linear. Just my opinion. Then for activity contents, this is supposed to be the last page, so I'll come back to it later. Let me get into, sorry, this is supposed to be the first page which I have finished just now. So this is cyber security page, which has the same components. We used the same stuff. We use margin top, margin layout. Margin top is for the margin here, so margin layout is for the one in total. So gravity keeps it in center. The height and width is for this layout width. And we did declare text string point 22, which is under the string part as I have shown just now. So other than description, we have history, which we have seen just now. Then we have internet of thing, which is also one of the buttons. So we have back button, and the colors of back buttons are not constant because I felt that some colors has to suit the whole page. So for some pages I have used some kind of red, and for some I've used turquoise like this. Then we have main XML, which is actually an empty file which I have intended to delete but I didn't. So but it's not connected to anything, so it doesn't bother anyone. Then we have main 11 just now. It's supposed to be like main 11 or something like that, because I didn't rename it or anything, because at the moment when I did it I felt that it's easier to, how we say that, it's easier to differentiate between the main and this. So from there, in this we have text views, all the text views about industrial that related to 4.0 pillars and job opportunities. So this is supposed to be, if I'm not wrong, the third and fourth question together, because if you make it into different pages, it will be like a repetition of the page. Like for here, when we say that organization or industries that related to 4.0 pillars, which is like social media, mobile computing and cloud computing and all that, when we make a page about job opportunity that offered by that organization, we have to put the similar thing, which is like social media or offers content creator, data analytics, mobile computing offers software engineering and robotics, something like that, which does not only hustle the person who does it but also hustle the users who look at it, because they will feel like, isn't this what I've seen earlier? So they get bored of it. So we make it into we compressed two of it, because two of the questions, because it's related, and made it into one interface, which we use the same components as usual with its own ID. Then we have a simulation page. This is also opened by one of the image button. So we use the same components as usual, and also system integration. So these are all the interfaces, and mostly the Java files are also similar because it's mostly about intent part, which redirects from one page to another. So that's how this whole project goes. Then we have string.xml, which I have explained just now, which is this way: history of industrial revolution and all that thing. Then for this part, that's all about the explanation of interface in Java code. But we do have manifest where we put the package name to connect everything to this package. And then we have activities. All these activities are the one that we did in the layout part, but the name follows the name of the Java file. Yeah, it follows the Java file name. So the pages get connected, and when the pages are not declared in the manifest, the page will not be displayed when we run the program. So we have run a few activities here, basically all of these pages. Then we have intent filter, which is actually pre-programmed when we have a manifest. Like when we make a project, it is pre-programmed. It's a built-in code. So that's all from the coding part. So let me run the application and show you how it works. So our emulator are kind of slow because our RAM is kind of okay, but it still consumes too much of RAM, the other application and everything. And since we are using OBS Studio for the recording, it's consuming more RAM right now. So let's wait for the emulator to connect, and let me show you part by part. And I apologize for all the time that it's taking for the application to run in the emulator. So since our pixel is starting, let's wait for a few seconds. Okay, the app has opened. So this is the first page of the app, which is history of industrial revolution. It goes back to content, then we get to next. Content is actually the first page, but we connect it that way so it can be easier. And content is like some people, they don't like to view content first, so we make it content like an optional part here. It's just my point of view in making contents, because some people, they don't like to get into content when they get into an application or an educational application. So they only get to content when they want to refer, so we make it as an optional here. Like it's important, but we make it like focus on the history first. So this is the history part. Then we click the next button, which makes a toast of description page, and all 9 of these images are actually image button. So when we click, it goes here and it can scroll. Then we click back, then we go to the second page, then we click back. It can be scrolled, and it has a toes here. And this is the autonomous robot page, so we click back. And sometimes I'm clicking 2 or 3 times because it's taking too much time for it to load. So this is cybersecurity, the fourth description page. Then this one is big data and analytics. Then we have IoT, which is Internet of Things. We scroll down, we click back. This is simulation. We have some information about simulation as other pages too. Then we scroll down, we click back. Then system integration, we scroll down and click back as usual. And if you want to read it, you can the application was submitted and you can run it in your phone and read it on detail. You can take it as a way of promoting the application or something, but it's just an assignment. But if you're interested, or you're interested in giving it to someone, or it'll be very useful for increasing knowledge, because doing this assignment was a way for me to gather data and learn more about the parts which I have done. So this is the cloud computing part, which is actually the last. So this 9 interfaces that I have shown just now is actually what description of IR40 is. So from here we click the next page. It brings to organization industrial with IR40. That's a toast, and here's the title here, in which it shows the organization or industries that relate to the 4.0 pillar, and also the job opportunities offered by the organization. So this is the last page, and from here we can just simply exit by clicking the home or back, or just back here to get back to the back page. And that's all about this application. Thank you.